Welcome to the channel. I'm so glad you can join me today. Go ahead, take a seat, grab some snacks, and of course your favorite drink. And let's start on a journey together. Today, we'll be on a Rimworld. There's no central government to make laws, rules, regulations, etc. That is completely up to the factions of the planet. And the factions are constantly at war with each other, fighting for dominance of this world. Now, of course, we have a protagonist here, Lucy. Another thing you need to know and understand about this planet, as you can tell, or maybe not, this planet is only in the medieval era. It has not advanced any more than that. Also, another big thing is this planet has magic, magical creatures, and magic users. Now, also a little bit about Lucy. I'm a protagonist. She's actually a necromancer. Of course, does not fully understand everything about necromancies. You can say she's kind of green behind the ears. But Lucy was not always a necromancer. She actually lived a normal life at one point. She had a mom, she had a dad. Her mom actually served as the village healer, or medicine doctor, of course. Her dad was actually employed as one of the craftsmen of the village. You see, Lucy has always been the adventurous type as she grew up in life. And she will always go on adventures. Well, of course, one day she was exploring outside and around her village, and she would come across a wood-looking cave, and of course curiosity got the best of her, so she would go and explore the cave. Then, she would find a strange-looking book that, for some reason, she couldn't explain, was calling to her, was drawing to her. Soon, she could not know any longer. She would touch the book and begin to feel a great energy fill her body. It will hold her in place until it stopped completely. Soon, out of her control, she would place a single finger on the book. She would feel great energy entering her body and holding her in place. Not able to move, not able to fully process what was taking place at the very moment. Then, she was feeling energy stopping through her body, feeling a little dizzy, feeling a little nauseous, but stronger, different. Once again, not fully understanding what happened to her. A few days after the incident in the cave, she felt frustrated. She had a great feeling that she became a magic user, but she just couldn't find out how to use this energy that was inside of her. Well, one day in the forest, once again, she's on a little adventure that would change. Soon, she will run into opportunity to understand her powers, and because of that, it will change her life's direction. All of a sudden, she walked up to a dead tortoise one day in the forest, and she just had a draw to just observe it, look at it. But also, she's a weird feeling to just some reason just touched the tortoise. Like a, almost like an instinct for some reason. Next thing she knows, she finds herself on the ground on her knees. She's a few inches away, her hand away from the tortoise's dead body. All of a sudden, staring there, she just hears some footsteps right behind her. She looks and there's someone right there. And the potion just looks at her, shocked, scared, completely confused. All of a sudden, this person that was staring at her just runs, starts running in fear, and shouts, "Oh God, oh God!" She stands there, still speechless, like, doesn't even fully comprehend what just happened. Her own instinct telling her to run as fast as she can, back home, back to the village, back to her house. A few minutes later, Lucy finally makes it close to the village, close to home. But after a little bit, soon, she runs into the village elder, and for some reason, two men from the village garrison with swords drawn. Lucy looks at the elder, and the elder looks back at her. There are a moment of silence, staring each other down. Eventually, the elder tells Lucy that he has received a very disturbing report from one of the hunters. And in this report, there was someone using dark magic, and the description describes Lucy to a T. Lucy, confused, looks at the elder even longer, asking what is he talking about dark magic. Of course, he takes a moment to explain that there are magic in the world, there are magic users. Of course, they all become heroes, they all become great adventurers, etc. But there are very few that does really dark magic in different forms. And the magic that was thwarted was necromancy, a magic that feasts on people's life source. And because of this, it was banned. Soon, Lucy remembers the total. Soon she remembers what happened. It begs the elder, please let her back to the village. The elder shakes his head and says, "Sorry, my child, it cannot be done. For this will bring doom to the village and all the people in it." All of a sudden, the elder looks at Lucy for one last time. Almost like he's about to do something he's gonna deeply regret, but it must be done. All of a sudden, blink of the eye, the two guards by the other side starts to move and charge at Lucy. Lucy, old instinct is to run. Run again. Run as fast as far as she can. Run away from the village, from her home, for everything she has ever known. And what our information covered, now we'll come to Lucy to present day. Necromancer, no family, banished, exiled from her village and all she knew her entire life. Now, it's just her magic in the wilderness. She's given two choices. Either give up and let the wilderness claim her, or build a new life, a new journey, new adventures. this is where we shall start our adventure with Lucy. Hopefully to see her grow, to thrive, and many adventures with her. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let's fully get started. Alright, so first things first, let's turn this on to speed, and Lucy needs a weapon. Next, let's go ahead and undraft her, because of course, this is how our pawns fight. And of course, if you're new to this game, so our people, or our colonists, you can even call them colonists or pawns. Ooh, okay. So, of course, real fast, if anyone's new to this game, um, structures or things you build have hit points, right? So as you can see, we have almost a building here. Um, for some reason, the map kind of generated it was damaged for some reason. And depending on the material you build your structures out of, it gives different hit points. Now, of course, this is really good because part of the structures are already built, so we can just add on to give Lucy here a place to stay outside. Yeah, basically um, away from the outdoors because every colonist slash pawns, what I most likely will call them pawns, majority of the time, of course, as you can see, have needs. Of course, see how she is a magic user. There's mana, what slowly regains over time. There's food. There is sleep. There is recreation. Yeah, I'm saying that right. Please forgive me if I butcher the name to something. Basically, it's just activities that, as your description, um, basically it's just they're fun bar. You can kind of say. Of course, beauty. If you want to read that, you can. Of course, comfort. Same thing. Just how comfortable they are around the environments they are in. So, and the majority of all this right here, all this impacts moods. Uh, and this is basically the stress level, how happy they are. You know, of course, if the mood gets too low, they may suffer from a mental break. And depending on the pawn's background, they could break stuff. They could go on a violent rampage. They can set fire to things. They can go around just coasting at people. Um, you know, just all kind of things. So, or also another thing is hiding in their room. So basically, they sit there and do absolutely nothing. And what's bad thing about a mental break is when you have it, it's kind of like you cannot control that pawn at all. Of course, um, as you can see, Lucy, I can draft, I can undraft. That's basically a drafter. Hey, I can tell it to attack this or that. Typically go here, like this, etc. If someone's having a mental break, you cannot do that at all. Um, of course, there is, if you come down here to this tab, there are different jobs colonists can do. For example, orders. Of course, we will need trees to build something. Um, because if you go to bio. This is Lucy's, you can kind of say skills, right? And she's have no skills at all in construction, etc. Of course, seeing how her father was a craftsman, she's really good at crafting. Of course, her mom, once again, was a healer, so she's decent at medicine. She's very intelligent due to her background, but she has no building experience. Um, so yes, we could dismantle these things, get bricks, stone bricks, what would be a lot harder compared to a wooden wall. Because of course, here, and I can tell her to go and chop this tree down. Of course, she does it. This goes into another skill, but yeah. Of course, wood. Now with the wood, we can build a wooden wall. Um, do this. Of course, this. And when she finishes building this, she will add a roof to this, and then this will give her a place to sleep and everything outside of the wilderness. Of course, the reason we want to do this, because eventually, if a mood drops and she has a mental break, um, basically sleeping outside is one thing that can cause a mood debuff and can also lead to having a mental break. So, that's the reason we want to do that. Because also, like I showed you, another thing, if a pawn has a mental break, see how I can tell her to do this. If a pawn has a mental break, you can't even do that with it. You have absolutely no control over the pawn. So ideally, we want to get this set up as soon as possible. And the reason we're doing this out of wood and not out of, say, course, the deconstruct, it gives us stone bricks, is because wood, of course, different things, different material, and building different, crafting different things. Um, let's see where it is. They typically have a skill cap, or depending on a pawn's skill doing certain tasks like construction. As you can see, she botched the construction because she's really bad at building right now. And typically, if we would use stone, uh, the chances of her effectively building something out of stone will not be great. So that's why we're using wood, primarily, because wood is a lot easier for her to build right now, or to build with right now, than any kind of stone. Now eventually we will get stone, um, and of course, just want to explain this mechanic. As you can see, it is raining. There is a chance when it rains, thunderstorms. Thunderstorms, typically lightning hits ground and makes fire, right? Well, this game, just in case you knew, does have a fire mechanic and a fire spread mechanic. So basically, these trees, this grass, all this is flammable. Of course, same thing with wood is very flammable. Even structures with wood is flammable. Of course, the reason we want to eventually get this not out of wood, in case if there's a thunderstorm and there is some fire somewhere and it spreads across the map. Our structure or base um is not flammable. It will not catch on fire. Of course, even though some things are not wood, there's still a chance it will catch on fire. But wood is very flammable, so eventually we do want to make this stuff out of stone, or just not out of wood. Let's see. Yeah, see, flammable. Flammable. It is 100% this object will catch on fire in the course. And how quickly a fire will grow. So basically spread. Um, yeah. So, of course. Okay, so we're out of wood. So we need to tell Lucy to come here, cut these trees down. Another thing we need to do. Now, of course, in case if you knew, you can come here to the schedule tab, and then these are basically the hours of the game or in-game hours. There's different tabs here. Anything, eat, sleep, woke, relaxation, etc. Of course, we want to edit this, and we want to give her 4 hours here. We want to click here, and make sure she gets 4 hours here. Reason being is that way she has about 15, 16 hours of just doing, hopefully, being productive, making something, crafting something, researching technology, etc. So, of course, we're going to come here too. And we do want to add a sleeping spot. That way, yes, this is a sleeping spot. She will still be sleeping on the ground, but at least with this sleeping spot, when she does go to sleep, it will be not outside. This will not be outside to where she will not get a big of a moon debuff. Of course, it still will be on the ground, because as you can see, step on the ground, step outside. Of course, eventually does go away, but we want to try to negate that as much as possible. Okay. Now, of course, Lucy's not best at it, but we want to go ahead and so she can mine. Of course, we do have this selected, so we're good. Eventually, she will come and mine. Yes, hopefully. Next, we need a stockpile. Now, of course, as you see, just in case if you knew, we have a stack of wood here. We have a stack of food right here. Items eventually stack up. And also, if you look, see how it is decaying because it's one on roof, the second is outside. So, of course, even items have hit points. It goes to 0, the item goes away. But due to it being outside and on roof, this is decaying by 0.5 hit points, you can say, per day. So we want to sit here. Let's go ahead and turn this to 1. And we want to make a stockpile. that, when Lucy gets up, ideally she would take these stacks of wood over here, the stack of food, and bring it to the stockpile to where it's inside. It is unroofed to where it will not disintegrate. So that is, just in case if you're new, that is one of the mechanics in this game. Uh, okay, next thing we need to do. I see there is a beehive. We need to go ahead and, of course, we can't draft Lucy and have her attack this, but let's see if we can distract her. If possible, that would be great, because I think that will, this should allow Lucy, yes, to get better at construction. Yeah, building and disassembling or deconstruction. So we need to do that. Reason being, if we don't deal with that, hello, someone's hungry. Let me see if it's spawned yet. Basically, it will spawn bees, and one, we do not have really the weapons right now, nor the manpower to take on the hive, because they have really good armor, you can say, on them. And of course, Lucy has really no armor, so basically, if we do not deal with that hive, it will spawn bees, and those bees would be very hostile, very territorial, and Lucy cannot take on 5 to 6 bees right now. Because typically when they attack in swarms. And yeah, even a well-skilled pawn without proper weapons and armor will, I'm not gonna say die, but get critically injured and have a possibility of dying on the ground. So we want to go ahead and try to avoid that happening to Lucy, because of course she has no undead. There's no other pawns that can help her if she would go down. Now, one more thing we need to also do before we end, at least this episode. We need travelers. Let's not mess with it right now. We need to make a bed. Of course, this is not the best bed. It's made out of wood, but at least it will help Lucy stop sleep, stop from sleeping on the ground. So we will at least get rid of this debuff. Yes, we will get rid of this debuff to where that will help Lucy's mood stay higher, to where she does not have a mental break. We need to go ahead and also, most likely need some more wood, so let's give Lucy order to cut down these trees. Now of course, so y'all know, there are factions in the game. Of course, um, in the base game, these factions cannot expand, but one of the mods I am playing with does allow them to basically expand by making new bases, new colonies. So if you see faction expansion, that's what it is. Of course, they're all hostile to us. For us, it doesn't really matter. We are not going around trying to attack them, so we're good. And Lucy right now is not does not um, want to dominate. She just wants to live in peace and harmony. So now next we do need to get a yes, we need to get this horseshoe. Um, Actually, let's go ahead and rebuild it against because this will basically give her little activities she can do to where it would fill up this bar. Of course, if this bar goes to 0, it will not make her go mad, but um, it will trigger a food debuff. So let's try to avoid that. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all for joining me today. I do not want to make this video super long for anyone to watch. As of right now, we will continue. Most likely, next episode, we will kind of work on the base a little bit more. And we will also try to remove some of these debuffs too. Actually, yeah, see? Because that ball was filled, we got a mood improvement. Awesome. Um, anyway, yeah. Next episode we will work on the base or the start of our colony, shall we say? Um, Build a few more critical things we need. Go ahead and work on some of these needs to make Lucy happy, to where she does not go insane and do something that may get her killed. Because of course, if Lucy dies, you know, we can count this as a loss, the series as a loss, um, and that's the idea. You know, we want to see Lucy go on great adventures. We want to see Lucy just live, thrive, etc. So, without further ado, thank you for joining me. Uh, Please leave any comments and down below, any ideas, etc. I am yeah, and I will respond as fast as I can to all the comments, all the feedback, and thank y'all for joining me. Y'all have a great day and a wonderful day. Bye bye.